This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Shalom Aleichem, Bruchim Aboim, welcome to our viewers on Torah Anytime. Baruch Hashem, it's good to be back after a little break. Hopefully everybody had a good and productive summer. Mit Hashem will speak about Parashas Shoftim, Shoftim-Elul, Inyan Yoima, as much as time allows us. I want to dedicate this year for the Hatzlacha of Ben Zion, Ben Dosa, him and his family. Should have Siyata Dishmai in everything they do. Somebody just told me that today is the Yortzeit of Rav Levine, who was the chief rabbi of England about 270 years ago. Special man. He was a chief rabbi for a few years, but he left. He went to Berlin. They asked him, why did you leave? He had a very good position in England, chief rabbi. But he said, nobody asks me any questions. What am I a rabbi for if nobody asks me any questions? So he left, he moved to Berlin, and he lived there for another 40 years, and people did ask him questions over there because that's the position of the rabbi. So that is his Yortzeit. His neshama should have a constant aliyah, which I'm sure it is. It should be a melit yosher for Klal Yisrael. So we start with Parashas Shoftim. Shoftim v'shoitim titen lecha b'chol sharecha v'shavtu es ha'am mishpat tzedek, says the Tiferes Shloimo. The tzaddikim normally view themselves, who am I? And they view everyone in Klal Yisrael much better than me, even though that's not the truth. Everybody is, they are better than anybody else, but they view themselves as, what am I? Always have to improve, and everybody else is better than me. Because they are melamed schus and Klal Yisrael, Eveidan is kol ha'adam lekav schus. But they view themselves somebody who constantly has to become better, and they don't view themselves necessarily as kav schus in order to propel themselves to action. This is alluded to in these psukim. Shoftim v'shoitrim, be a shoiter, a police officer, over yourself. Titen lecha b'chol sharecha. View yourself as somebody who always has to continuously grow and become better. But view everybody else, v'shaftu es ha'am, when you judge others, that you should do mishpat tzedek, and tzedek means b'tzedek tishpot amisecha. You should view everybody as better than you and judge people favorably. And the pasuk continues over here and says, lo takiu panim b'mishpat. Literally, don't look at faces in the mishpat. When you view others, sometimes you look at a person and say, this guy, I know this face. I see already, but he's looking at his face, I know this guy, he's no good. Lo takiru panim b'mishpat. When you come to judge others, don't decide because you see his face, I already know who the person is, how he dresses, how he walks, how he behaves. Don't. That's what the Pasuk says, lo takiru panim b'mishpat. Ve'amech kulam tzadikim. You should look at a person and say, he's a tzaddik, he's Klal Yisrael. That will awaken Rachmei Shamayim on you, on Klal Yisrael, Emes Hashem, and that's how we should judge others. The Pasuk here discusses in our Pasha, Yad ha'edim tiyebo barishoina. Two witnesses come, and they testify about a person, is chayav misa. They have to be the first one stoning the person. V'yad ha'edim tiyebo barishoina, le'amiso v'yad kol ha'am ba'achoina. And thereafter, everybody else comes and joins. And with that, you eradicate evil from within your midst. Uviyata hara mikir becha. Comes Rav Shteiman Zatzal with a mind-boggling Chiddush suggestion. He's not sure about this, but he suggests perhaps. In Sanhedrin Memei Amud Beis, there is an opinion, passing like this in the Rambam Hilchos Sanhedrin Perek Daled Halacha Ches, that if the Eidim don't have an arm, this guy is exempt. The Pasuk says, V'yad ha'edim tiyebo barishoina, which means the witnesses that came and testify, they are the first ones who are supposed to throw that stone. But what if they don't have a hand, they don't have an arm? So the guy walks. Asks Rav Shteiman, what if a witness came and he testified falsely? He knows that he lied, but he can't retract because we have a rule. Kevan shehigid, shuv, eino choizer umegid. Once you give testimony in Beis Din, you can't retract. We go with what you said first, and that's it, it's over. So is this witness mechuyav? Is he obligated to chop off his arm? Because it's because of his lies that somebody now is going to be executed, and he knows that he lied. Now he wants to tshuva. It's Shoftim-Elul. He bangs in his heart and says, "Chatasi aviti bashati." What's that? Even with one, we're going to wreck the testimony and throw it out. If one is missing an arm, this is not a good edus. So is the ed that testified falsely is mechuyav to chop off his arm? Chidish. He brings an Osamech. Osamech is, who's the Osamech? The Meshech Chochmah. The Meshech Chochmah Midvinsk. We call him the Meshech Chochmah, but he's also the Osamech and the Rambam. This week? No. Baruch Hashem, we're zeichet to say some divrei Torah in his names. But we're going to reject his words. He brings an Osamech and he rejects him, not us. The Osamech in Hilchos Rotzeach, Perek Zayin Aloches, and the Rambam brings in the name of the Radbaz that a person is mechuyav to chop off a limb, something of his body, if he can save with that somebody else. You want to save somebody else? Chop off your arm, and that's what we needed. So the Osamech goes against the Radbaz and says, if you're right, the Radbaz, and a person has to take off his finger, his arm, his leg, whatever the king demands in order to save somebody, how is it that in Sanhedrin Mem Daled Amud Beis there were two witnesses that came and they lied in order to execute the son of Rabbi Shimon ben Shetach, and Lemaisa they executed him? Why is that? Lemaisa, we knew that they're lying, so why didn't the Beis Din obligate them to chop off their arm? If they would chop off their arm, the guy, the son of Reb Shimon ben Shetach, wouldn't be Chayav Misa. Or he would be Chayav Misa, but we wouldn't be able to execute it, and he would be able to walk. Why is it they didn't do it? You see from here, says the Osamech, to reject the words of the Radbaz, that a person is not mechuyev, or we are not mechuyev to chop off somebody's arm in order to allow the person who's not Chayav Misa to be able to walk. Comes Rav Shteban and rejects the words of the Osamech. He says, look, these guys are liars. We're not going to believe them anyways. So the fact that we retract, that doesn't mean that we believe them. Or the fact that they take off their arm, maybe they have a different agenda. Maybe somebody's paying them. I don't know why they're doing it. These people are not believed. They already gave a testimony, and that testimony was accepted. We have a problem, a technical problem, as Kevan Shehigid, Shuv Eino Chozer Umagid. We can't take more words from them. We go with the first testimony. Mimele, he says we have to reject what he says, and the Beis Din can't go and tell them or chop off their arm, but he still leaves his question unresolved. Is the Ed himself, the witness himself who lied, chayav to take off his arm to save the person that he lied about and is going to be executed? He leaves it with a question mark. A fascinating shot. If anybody can resolve this dilemma of the Rav Shteiman Zatzal, I'll be very happy to hear how that works. If this was surprising, the following story is mind-boggling, very hard to digest, but...
Sorry about that. I don't understand how that would work if you chop off their hands, how it would save it, because at the point when they testified, they did have their hands.
Right. But it's a technical thing. We cannot execute the person if the witnesses don't have an arm and they can't fulfill the words of the pasuk. V'yad ha'edim tiyeh bo barishoina. The witnesses should be the ones who's throwing the first stone. They can't. They don't have an arm. It's a technical point.
They have to be complete. The witnesses have to have a complete.
Have to have two arms. I don't care about their legs, but if they don't have an arm, they can't fulfill the words of the pasuk that obligates them to go and throw the first stone. They don't have an arm. They can't throw that stone. So maybe he's obligated to take off his arm. Tremendous Chiddush.
Doesn't Rashi say,
Good. That's if they have the arms. But for whatever reason, we can't. But this is a technical thing. Paskin la'halacha, the Rambam takes the words of the Gemara and paskins la'halacha. If the witnesses don't have an arm, we don't do the skila. We can't kill them. Rabbi Isai, a story very hard to understand. Sefer Zichron LeMoshe, page 126. Stories about the Chassam Sofer, an old Sefer, which was printed many, many times since it came out a long time ago. And I'm going to tell you the story, but this story appears without any comments. Nobody says anything that this is too strange, too weird, can't accept it. I'm telling you, a Maisa it says in the Sefer. Where's the Chassam Sofer is the Rav? What city? Prishburg, in Hungary. By the way, fascinating. The Chassam Sofer is the Rav of Prishburg for 33 years. His son, Chassam Sofer, follows him, and he is the chief rabbi of Prishburg for 33 years. His son, the grandson of the Chassam Sofer, after the Chassam Sofer dies, is the chief rabbi of Prishburg for 33 years. Rabbi Akiva Sofer, when he got to the 33rd year, he knew this is it. So quickly he moved to Eretz Yisrael, Baruch Hashem, he didn't die, and he continued to be a Rav here. 99 years, the Soifers rule over the city of Prishburg. Just trivia. In one of the small communities near the city of Prishburg, a goy came to the local Rav. I want to convert. He looked very serious. He went through the whole process. Seemed sincere. After whatever time it took, the Rav says, "You're ready. Tomorrow is the big day." He got the local moyel. He did the bris milah. Everything up to here sounds great. 3 days after the milah, this goy has high fever. He's about to die. The family of the convert, they're very upset. And they blamed the Jews that they're killing their family member. This moyel, this rabbi, they try to kill his people. And therefore there was a decree to kill all the Jews. The Rav didn't know what to do. So he goes to Prishburg, he goes to the Chassam Sofer, he tells him the whole story. The Chassam Sofer yells at him, "What were you thinking, taking your local moyel who doesn't know how to do an adult circumcision, which is not like a baby's one? What were you thinking? It's all because of you." Fine, but what do we do? Some Sofer says, I don't see any eitzah other than you have to accept on yourself mesirus nefesh. You have to die in order to rectify what you did and save the entire community. You and the moyel and the ger. I'll tell you what you do. Says some Sofer to the Rav. Go back to your city. Tell this to the moyel. Hopefully he'll accept this. Don't tell the ger. Go to him and say, "Listen, we have an appointment for you, the top doctor in a big city. Come with us, we'll take you." You'll all go together and you'll pass by the river. When you pass by a river at a certain point, just tilt the wheel and go into the water. You'll drown, you'll all die, and this will be your tikkun, and this will rectify what you did, and will save Klal Yisrael. Are you mekabel? The Rav says, if that's what I need to do, that's what I need to do. Pele. He goes back to his town. He says to the moyel, the Chassam Sofer says, we have to be mekabel mesirus nefesh. Mekabel? Some Sofer says, what's the relevance of this story to our parsha? Anyone? Shnai mikaveh hatagum. Al pi haTorah she'erucha lo tasu min hadavar asher yagidu לך yamin u'shmol. Listen to Gedolei Yisrael. To what extent? Even when he tells you to commit suicide. He goes to the moyel and says, "Moyel, are you accepting?" I accept. Okay, go say goodbye to your family. Don't tell him anything. The moyel goes back home and he hugs his wife, says goodbye. She's like, she wonders, he always travels. Well, what's the big deal today? Goodbye. I hope I ever see you again. The Rav does the same. He goes to his house, he says hello and goodbye to everybody. Probably for the last time. He doesn't reveal why. They go to the convert and they say, "Listen, we have an appointment for you with the top doctor. Come join us." "Oh, wow, thanks so much." He's between life and death. They all go in the carriage and they start driving. They drive. When they get to a certain river, in Zichron HaMoshe he says the name of the river. He starts tilting the wheel and it goes towards the water. And suddenly a guy appears there. Looks very distinguished. Certain person, very distinguished. So the Rav gets off and he says to him, "Excuse me, please move, you're disturbing us." He says, "What are you doing? What are you doing? You're going to do, what are you doing?" He says, the guy looked, Yireh Shamayim. So he tells him, the Chassam Sofer told me. Chassam Sofer told you what? So he tells him the whole Maaseh. This guy starts laughing. He says, "Well, what do you need to do that? I have the water." He says, "What water?" He says, "I have water here in a bottle. If you sprinkle some of this water on the makom milah of this convert, he will be healed." Rav says to him, "What are you saying?" He says, "I'll show you." He goes back to where the convert is. He opens this bottle of water that he had. He sprinkles some water on the makom milah of this convert. Suddenly he feels better. No more fever. He starts walking. No more problem. Amish, an open miracle. The Rav says, we got to say this to the Chassam Sofer. They turn around and they go to Prishburg to tell the Chassam Sofer. The Chassam Sofer is waiting for them outside. And when he sees them, he starts smiling. He laughs. Why are you laughing? He says, "You know what happened to us?" The Chassam Sofer says, "Of course I know." "You know who that was?" Eliyahu Hanavi. I want you to be zoichet to see him. But there was no way to do that unless you're mekabel on yourself mesirus nefesh. Eliyahu is malach habris. He is the one who is going to heal the person who was at the circumcision. Adkan is the Maisa. This is the story. I said it's very hard to digest, to accept, to understand. Printed many times as Sefer. Nobody disagrees. I have some questions on this story. Mistama, you also do. The fact that the Rav has to be mekabel himself mesirus nefesh is a wonderment. The fact that the Moel has to do the same is a pele. The fact that the Ger has to do that, what do you want from him? And it's one thing that the Rav and the Moel accept on themselves mesirus nefesh because they're aware of what they're going to do. It's not so strange. Tan is the Yud Ches Amud Beis, we learn in Rashi, a famous Meiser about Papus and Lulianus, two brothers in the city of Lud, where the king's daughter was murdered, and of course he accused the Jews, and he said, if you don't give over the murderers, we'll wipe you all out. And these two brothers, Papus and Lulianus, who were tzaddikim, didn't do anything, came to the king and they said, we did it. So he executed them, and with that they saved the entire town. So you see, a person can sacrifice himself to save others, but they're aware of what they're doing. The Rav and the Moel accept on themselves mesirus nefesh. What do you want from the Ger? You're killing him. It's not like you're telling him, are you willing to be mekabel mesirus nefesh to save Klal Yisrael? He's not aware. You're killing him. The Gemara says, mal velo taval, or taval velo mal. A Ger has to go to the mikveh and has to have bris milah. If he has one of the two, is he Jewish? He's not Jewish yet. Circumcision without tvila is nothing. Tvila without circumcision is nothing. But does he have a little shtickle Jewishness in him? How does it work? There's a few Gedolei Olam that deal with this. The Doivev Meisharim was asked from the Imre Yosher, what's the din with a guy who is mal velo taval, he had circumcision but still it wasn't healed, it didn't go to the mikveh yet. If he is an amatzav pikuach nefesh, do we violate Shabbos in order to save him? We only do this for Jews. The Shalosh Tshuvos Machzeh Avram, Avnei Nezer, they're both mechadesh that if a ger mal velo taval, circumcision but without tvila, he is chayav to keep the Shabbos, which is a pele. Because a goy sheshavas, a goy that normally keeps Shabbos, chayav misa. So where is he? He's floating. He's not really Jewish yet. He left being not Jewish. So where is he? He's in between, but he has to keep Shabbos. It's a big chiddush. Chelkas Yov writes that a ger that mal velo taval is circumcised but not tvila yet, niskadesh ktsas b'kedushas Yisrael. He has a little of the kedusha of Yisrael. Big chidushim. So since he has some kedusha of Klal Yisrael, how are you able to take him into the river and kill him? And don't tell me, listen, you're killing one guy in order to save the entire city. Can't do that. Shulchan Aruch Yoreh Deah, Siman Kuf Nun Zayin, we learn, based on Maseches Tumas in Yerushalmi, that if going capture a whole group, a whole city, and they say, just give us one guy. Otherwise we'll kill you all. Are we allowed to take a person and give him over to him? No. Chas v'sholom. Let everybody be killed. Thousands of people. But we cannot take a person unless he is chayav misa. And this convert, as far as we know, is a tzaddik. He's not chayav misa. So how are you able to do this even though you're going to save the entire city by doing this? It's a tremendous chiddush. You have more questions about the story? This is enough.
Wasn't he called by name?
What do you mean?
That's the theme of the Rob was talking about in the city. They called the person by name and said sin.
The Chassam Sofer is telling you, take the convert, put him together with you in the car, and go jump over the river. What do you mean called by name? Take this guy, he's telling you what to do with him, and nobody even asked him, are you willing to be Moiseh Nefesh for Save Klal Yisrael? Why are you killing him?
But the question is, based on Uriah, if he's called by name, he is allowed to be given over to save the town.
You don't have to call name. You have to pull him, take him into the car, and kill him. You have to call a name. What do you need a name for?
Goyim asked for a certain person. The Goyim asked for a certain person by name.
So this is worse. Nobody asked for a certain person. We are taking a person, deciding to kill him to save Klal Yisrael. Who gave you permission? When the Goyim say, give us one person, and they don't say whom, and we decide, okay, we'll take Moshe. They don't like him anyways. He snores at night. You're not allowed to do that. Let everybody in town be killed.
But he's the near.
That's what you're doing.
But if they call him by name,
But they didn't.
that's the shayla I'm asking.
That they didn't. Nobody's saying the convert did something wrong. The opposite. They're saying the rabbi and the moyer did something wrong. But the goy, the convert, is a tzaddik in their eyes. So you want to kill him? How does it work?
He's the near. He'll die.
He's the roidif, not the nirdaf.
Because he's the one that if he'll die.
What is he, a baby Mishmaya Karadfele in Maseches Nida? He's not a roidif.
Why is college on second?
The goyim in that town were so upset that you guys converted one of our guys and you're trying to kill him. You didn't try to convert him, you tried to kill him. Look, 3 days after the Bismillah, the guy's between life and death. You tried to kill him, so you know what? We're going to kill all of you. They want to kill all the Jews. Sakana?
The convert is not yet obligated to all the mitzvahs.
And therefore?
Right? And therefore, the next step is he is a Jew. He will be a Jew. Now he's not a Jew. But the next step.
And therefore?
Therefore, he's going to be treated like he's a Jew. He's doing everything that he's supposed to be as a
Why do you want to kill him without asking him, do you want to do this to save us? You're taking him, throwing him into the water, so, Baruch Hashem, we get rid of him and everybody else will live.
He's accepting all the mitzvahs.
You just said he didn't yet.
Huh?
You just said he's not Jewish yet.
No, but he's accepting it in his
And therefore, it's one of the mitzvahs.
in his understanding. I'm about when I get my bris, I now am obligated not to the seven.
The bris he already had.
I'm not,
The mikveh he didn't have yet. The bris he had,
it's not complete. The process is
the process is not complete. And therefore,
it's not complete.
and therefore,
I'm accepting the process.
and therefore,
And therefore, when I have the other process, I now am obligated. The Goy is saying, I'm obligated to 613 mitzvahs, not the 7 b'nai.
and therefore,
And therefore, the process is still in process.
thus,
It's a process.
hence,
He has to go to
Any other words?
He has to go. He has to have the bris. He has to go to the mikvah.
but he doesn't have to kill himself. He can choose to if he wants to.
But if the obligation is that something has happened, this is why he doesn't know that yet. He doesn't know all the 613 mitzvahs.
So you're allowed to go and kill him?
Where
That's what you're doing. You're telling him, go jump into the river. You're forcing him without even him being aware.
accepting whatever they tell him to do because he's now.
But that's not something that Shulchan Aruch says that a rabbi should do to somebody else.
He's obligated. The Goy is obligated to the 613 mitzvahs, just like
Agoy is not. Agoy is up in 7.
when he becomes a Jew. he's
613. Is one of the 613 thou shalt kill him yourself to save everybody else? No.
If the stock is if that's what comes down, if this person.
It's not something you have to do. You're allowed to do this. You're allowed to. You don't have to. So you're forcing him to do something without him being aware of it?
He's accepting it upon himself.
He's not. That's not one of the 613. That's a mitzvah we invented.
613. It will be 613 when he does. The
When he's 100% Jewish, it's not an obligation. You don't have to kill yourself to save others, even though you're allowed to. But you're not asking him.
I'm not sure I follow the whole thing because Khatam Sofer said, you do this. This is the Lord He said, you do this. So what is the question?
So tomorrow when the Gadol Ador tells you, go to the Empire State Building and jump, you going to do it? No questions asked. You have Emunah Chachamim.
But that's what they what
To what extent?
Khatam Sofer said.
Lo tasu min hadavar. To what extent? Even when he tells you something which is against the Torah?
That's what the Torah. That's the process.
The Torah says you have to kill yourself?
They said
The Torah says don't dare kill yourself.
They said when the Khatam says Yamina is small and small Yamina, you have to be even in this case it's exactly.
Even when it's against the Torah?
No.
It's not against the
I have
Torah.
another pasuk. Yekum Alecha Navi tells you to do something.
Which is against the Torah? Don't listen. That's last week's parsha. This week's because we have a problem. It says listen.
Just a thought that when a person drowns in a river, it takes quite a few seconds that considered as a tefillah, then it's Jewish and he dies after.
Let's say it is. Let's say. What is it going to help you? Let's say he's full-fledged Jewish. Are you allowed to do this to a person? To tell him, not to tell him, to kill him, to rectify everybody else? It's no obligation to kill yourself to save others, even though you're allowed to. But you have to say, okay, I want to do it, like the Rav and like the Moyel. You're forcing him to do this without him being aware. Who gave you permission? It's not one of the mitzvahs on the Torah. So even if he's going to be Jewish, and we said he's already have a little of a kedusha of Yiddishkeit because he did the milah without the tefillah, let's even call him a Jew. But you're not allowed to do this to a person. I said it's a very hard story to digest. You're allowed to kill a person in the grama?
Maybe to say with Moses.
You have a raya? Im kabbalah nekabel. Give me a raya, I'll accept it. For yourself, not for others. Don't go killing others because it's not Hashem. Rabbi Yisai, your chidushim are too great to accept unless you provide sources. You want to kill people without sources? To take money from somebody else's pocket, I won't, unless you have a source. Or to kill a person?
What else is in this week's verse?
We're going to find out in Hashem soon.
We start off, there are 6 on Miklot. There are 6 cities that if someone kills someone by accident, that he can go to these 6 cities. But by the end of the parsha, we say that there's going to be another 3 cities. So now it's going to be nice. So those, the mitzvah that's going to be coming with when Mashiach comes, or when we have the 9 cities, not 6 cities, those 3 cities didn't exist as part of a mitzvah.
And the connection to my question?
The answer to the question is it's in process. It was in process.
Question. How can you tell that the Rav and the Moyel go kill this guy? That's my question. How can you kill a person in order to save somebody else? Who gave you the courage to do that?
The story of Yonah.
Yonah says about himself, take me and throw me to the water. You can do it to yourself. But who gives you permission to kill somebody else without his awareness?
Opinion may sit when you get into hide people behind the wall. He doesn't know about it.
Achidish only regarding a Macy's. You're allowed to hide your witnesses ahead of time and to fool him to say what he says, to record it and bring it to the Beis Din. Achidish only by Macy's. What's the connection to my question?
Was it correct what the person in the back said, that if the Goyim name a person that they want to be given...
How is that going to help you?
Is that correct? That if they
Yes, how is that going to help you?
If they name a person, we want Joe, we give over Joe?
But they view him as one of theirs. They think he's a tzaddik. They don't view him as a murderer.
Is that
Yes.
And even if we don't know anything...
Yes. How is that going to help us?
So why is that true? That if they name somebody, a total tzaddik, innocent person, why can you give him over if the Goyim name him?
Because when they say, give us one person, or else we'll kill everybody, you don't have the koyach to come and look at Moshe and says, I don't like you. Go save us. But when they already pointed to a person, they're doing it as if not you.
So over here, if this convert is going to die without drowning the river, he's going to die. So they're going because of him. It's because of him.
But they're going to view him as a tzaddik. They don't view him as a murderer that they want. But I think we're getting close. I want to go with what you're saying, but deviate a little. There's a Gemara in Maseches Nedorim, Daf Chav Beis Amud Aleph. Ula goes to Eretz Yisrael. He travels from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael. He's accompanied by 2 goyim from a place called Beit Chozai. One of the guys that he's walking with gets upset at his friend. While they're walking, he takes a knife, he stabs him. He looks at Ula and he says, Ula, what do you say? Did I do good? Ula says, Psh, Gevaldik, fantastic. But why don't you finish off the job? Slash him completely. He said, okay. When Ula came to Eretz Yisrael, he went to Rabbi Yochanan. He says, Rebbe, what do you say? Did I do good? Was my answer to this guy the right one? Rabbi Yochanan says, yeah, good job. Very, very good. Otherwise, you would be endangered. If you would say, what did you do? Why did you kill your friend? He would kill you. Very good. Says the Tif'eres Yisrael. Carries a lot of weight. He asks, Excuse me? It's one thing to say to the goy, you did good by killing your friend. But it's another to say, complete the job faster. You're allowed to say to a person, go kill somebody else. The guy is not 100% dead yet. Only 98%, 30%, I don't know how many. Why are you saying to the guy, go and complete the job? Who gave you permission? Normally we say, my chazis. Why do you think your blood is redder than somebody else? So don't do it. But here he says, we don't say my chazis when a person has a temporary life and we compare it to a permanent one. It's chaye shah versus chaye oilam. The guy whose throat was slashed, or maybe his stomach, I don't know where he stabbed him, is going to die very soon. We do say my chazis, we do say my blood is redder than somebody else who's about to die. A big chiddush. And therefore Ula can save himself by saying to the goy, go and complete the job that you just started, which is tremendous chiddush. So perhaps here we'll say the same. The goy, the convert, is between life and death. He's about to die. Everybody already gave up hope. Mimele, he only has chaye shah, temporary life. Compared to chaye oilam, of everybody else in town, we do say we sacrifice a person in order to save others. It's like a dead man walking. He's no longer here. He's a treifa. He's going to die any second. He's a goy, says. And because of that, perhaps, some Sefer instructed what he did. There is a Sefer Hasidim that says that if you're a tzala member, two people are rushed into your hospital and you have to decide. You take the chaye oilam before the chaye shah. So lichoira, if you have chaye shah of an hour and a half, and a guy that you estimate he will live for 3 days, lichoira, choose the 3 days over the hour and a half, just like you choose the chaye oilam over chaye shah, lichoira, where everything else is equal.
Logically, that doesn't seem like the right side.
Look, when you're the Chassam Sofer and you can play and send Eliyahu Hanavi wherever you want, Lemaisa nothing happened. Everybody was healed. But it's still a chiddush, and it's not less of a chiddush. One of the other questions on this story, that the Chassam Sofer is relying on a nest, that Eliyahu Hanavi will execute exactly what he says. What, he works for you? The whole thing is a pele. But why doesn't it?
No, but no, because if the Goyim want to kill the Jewish people because they hurt a guy, how are they going to kill they're going to want to massacre the Jews?
No, the idea of the Chassam Sofer was, when they'll see that the Rav died and the Moyel died, they'll see there's nothing against us. They wanted to take him to the top doctor in Vilna to help him, and unfortunately there was such a car accident, everybody's going to cry, the Jews and the non-Jews. The non-Jews for the convert, the Jews for their chief rabbi, and for the Moyel. They'll understand it's not a plot against the Goyim. That was the idea behind it, and that's why they're willing to be moist and nefesh to save the Jews. I said the story is very, very, very strange, hard to accept, but maybe with what we said, it can be a little more digestible.
Let's see.
Zichron LeMoshe, page 126, footnote. Ve'haya keshivto al kise mamlachtoi. Who are we speaking about? The king. Ve'haya keshivtoi al kise mamlachtoi. How should it be? What should we say over here? Instead of keshivtoi? Beshivtoi. When he sits on his throne. What is it? Keshivtoi. Asks the Minchas Chinuch. Says the Minchas Chinuch. Every single day, even after 25 years in the job, the king has to view himself as if I just sat on my throne. This is the first day. Because normally, you sit on your throne and you're very excited. I'm going to help my people. I'm going to change everything here. The first week, first 2 weeks, the first 3 weeks, and then you get used to it, very comfortable, and you start behaving like a king instead of like that person who really wants to make a change. And people are very excited about you. They voted you into office the first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then your ratings start to go down, and people are not excited, and this guy's fighting with you over this, and he didn't take care of this, and doesn't care about anything, he just cares about himself. But if the king views himself as if this is my first day in office, every single day, it's like I just sat down on the chair, it's the first time. He's going to be excited about his job, he's going to be excited about the people, and he'll hopefully will take care of the people. That's the famous Minchas Chinuch. I think maybe perhaps this is teaching us something else. Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer teaches us, Chasan doime lemelech. A Chasan is like a king. How? If he applies this, ve'aya keshivtoi, every single day he should treat his kala. This is the first day. This is the first day. It's the first. Sheva Brachos, the first 7 days, usually are very exciting. They're still nice to each other. He still smiles at her. He tells her how amazing she is and smart and beautiful. The trick is, v'haya keshivto, throughout their married year, 80 years, 100 years together, whatever it is, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives them, keshivto, every single day anew. She to him and he to her, and maybe that is a great secret for Shlom Bayis. Boy said we have some wild riddles today. We start with the first one. Shulchan Aruch, this is not so wild, but it's a riddle. Shulchan Aruch Chaim Siman Kuf Daled, we learn, even though normally there's such a thing called Kvod Malchus, you have to treat the king with great respect. When a person is in the middle of Shmoneh Esrei, in the middle of his silent prayer, a king comes, we're talking about a Jewish king, not a Goyish king. And he says, oh, Shalom Aleichem, how are you? Are you supposed to answer him? No. That's the halacha in Orach Chaim, Kuf Dalet. My riddle is there any other mitzvah that one is involved with, that even if a king comes and says, Shalom Aleichem, you don't answer him? Any other mitzvah? Benching? Says who? You have a raya? A source. To people, when the king comes and he says Shalom Aleichem, you're not going to answer? King.
In the middle of the first part of Shmoneh Esrei.
In the middle of Shmoneh Esrei, we don't respond. That's the halacha we quoted for Shulchan Aruch Kuf Dalet. I'm asking another mitzvah, other than Shmoneh Esrei, that a person is involved with, and he doesn't reply to a king. You have a source? Oyne mipnei hayira. The halacha is exactly opposite. A mes mitzvah, take the mes, carry him, and say Shalom Aleichem, king. You want to come help? It's a mes mitzvah. You're also allowed to. Even a Kohen Gadol.
Ron is right. First, read Shema, you can't speak.
Mipnei hayira. A king can execute you, a king. I'm sending you to Yoredea. We're leaving Orach Chaim. And by the way, it has to do a little with Parshas Shavua. Maybe that's the reason I'm asking it.
You make makkah on the matzah and say tonight, you're not that complete, you're not even put the kazas in your mouth and then the king comes up.
Not so sure. The Gemara in Brachos says, Paskin la'aloch on Shulchan Aruch, Kuf Samazayin, I think, Gabil letori. You have to feed your animals before you eat, right? As the pasuk says, Brachos Daf Mem, V'nasati esem besadcha livhem techa, and only then it says Ve'achalta v'sevata. So first you have to feed the animals. What if you washed? You says Amoitzi lechem min ha'ar. Oh, I still didn't feed my animal. I'm not allowed to eat. So you're allowed to say, go and feed the animals, and that's soirech haseuda, and therefore you're allowed to speak. Lichoira, it will be soirech haseuda. The king is here. Shulchan Aruch, Yoredea. We left Orach Chaim. And Yoredea, Reish Ayin Vav Seif Gimel, we learn. And the person, this is Hilchos Ksivas Sefer Torah. You're writing Sefer Torah. You're writing Hashem's name. Even, this is the language Shulchan Aruch. Even when Melech Yisrael, Shoyel Bishloimoy, the king is asking, how are you? Lo Yeshivenu, don't answer. And that is the answer to our question. Since we mentioned a king twice already. Yeah, Melech Goy is dangerous. Pikuach Nefesh overrides everything in the Torah. You're writing Hashem's name. Yud Kei Vav Kei, that you have a problem. Since we mentioned the king, and we said Chassan Doy Mele Melech, Gitin Samech Beis, the Gemara says, Man Malchei. Who are real kings? Rabbanon. So we're going to combine it and say a story about a king, a Rav Hosner, and a Chassan. Rabbi Isai, not to be believed. A Bachor and a girl going out in Bnei Brak. Everything looks very good. They're about to close the shidduch. Just before they close the shidduch, the girl says to the boy, listen, I want to tell you something. I'm sorry. Just before they're about to, that's a different story with Rav Shteiman. Don't know if anyone remembers. There's a different Maaseh. Just before they're about to close the shidduch, unfortunately, the Bachor was diagnosed with Yana Machla. He has cancer. Treatment after treatment, a whole year. The girl was extremely supportive. She was there for him. She cared for him, encouraged him. And she was unbelievable for a whole year. After a full year, the doctors say, you are healed. Baruch Hashem. Chassan writes a letter to his prospective Kala. Dear Kala, you are unbelievable. You are amazing. How you cared for me. How you supported me. How you helped me out. You were there. Unbelievable. I have no words to thank you. However, I don't want to marry you. Why? I don't think it's right for you, such a terrific girl, to get married to me. I am called high risk. Why should you, a young terrific girl, get married to somebody like me who's a high risk? Go get somebody else who's like you. Amazing bachor, young, strong, healthy. In Hebrew there's an expression. You don't put a healthy head into a sick person's bed. A sick person's bed. I'm high risk. Kala writes a letter to the Chassan. Dear Chassan, you are amazing and I want to marry you. The interesting thing about this Maisa was that the parents of the Chassan agreed with their son and say, we don't think that this Kala should marry our son. He's high risk. Not less amazing, the parents of the Kala agree with the Kala. We want our daughter to marry this boy. Oilam hafucha isi. What do you do when you don't know what to do? You go to an Adam Gadol. They decided they want to have a Beis Din by Rav Wosner. They call the Gabbai. Gabbai, we want Rav Wosner to officiate this Beis Din. The Gabbai says, listen, Rav Wosner is almost 100 years old. There's many other Rabbanim in Bnei Brak. Why do you have to go to him? They say to him, listen, a din Torah like this he never saw. We want him to be involved. They tell Rav Wosner, he agreed. They all come in to Rav Wosner. And Rav Wosner looks at the chassan and says, Ma beficha? What's the ma'aser? What's the story? And the boy says, listen, Mama, she's unbelievable. She's the greatest girl. But it's not right. Why should she get married to me when everybody's calling me, the doctors and other people, I'm high risk. What's the reason? She should go and get married to somebody like her. There's no reason. It's not right. Rav Wosner looked at the girl, says to her, what do you say? I understand what the boy is saying, but I want to get married to him. Am I not allowed to get married to him? Rav Wosner says, you're allowed to get married, but you should be aware that if you walk away, there's not going to be any kpeida on you. You are allowed to walk away, and even if the boy is makpid on you, it's meaningless. You are allowed to walk away. She says, I understand, but I want to get married to him. Am I not allowed to get married to him? He says to her, you are allowed to, but you don't have to. And if you're worried about any kpeida, there's not going to be any kpeida. You can walk away. She says, Rabbi, I want to get married to him. Rav Wosner says to her, tell me, there are other great guys out there. Why do you insist that you want to get married to him? She says to him, Rabbi, if I don't get married to him, who will? I don't think he's ever going to get married, and therefore I want to get married to him. But I don't want to get married to him without a bracha from you. Rav Wosner lowers his voice, lowers his face. He starts crying for 10 minutes. And he raises his face and he looks at her and he says, Abbas Yisrael, that behaves with such nobility, you want a bracha from me? I want a bracha from you. She gave him a bracha for longevity. I think it worked. He lived 102 years old. We have a story about a Chassan, Akala, and a Melech, Man Malchei Rabbanon. Some people speak about Emunah, bitachon, and some people actually live Emunah and live bitachon. And that's also a manifestation of our pasuk in a parsha. Tamim tihye im Hashem Elokecha. What does Rashi say on the words Tamim tihye? Be wholeheartedly with Hashem your God. What does the Rashi say? Don't look into the future. Don't figure out what's going to happen. Tamim tihye. Be wholeheartedly with the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Ve'az tihye imo ulechelkoi. That's the language of Rashi. You did so good on the previous riddle, and therefore we'll ask you another one. I know Chelek Aleph, Hakofa Aleph, I don't know Hakofa Beis. I'm assuming if they got a bracha from Rav Wosner, why wouldn't they get married? Wouldn't you get married? The bracha from Rav Wosner? You're good to go. We spoke before about witnesses. More shalas about witnesses. Normally we need how many witnesses? Two. One is good? One is not good. Normally one is not good. How can it be? One head comes to the Beis Din and will accept the testimony. Somebody else comes to join him, so you have a group of two Eidim. Got it? We don't accept it. Can that be? Ed echad ne'eman be'isurim, that's when you only have one. But if you have two, will you have a problem with it? No. I'm saying the opposite. If you have one, it's a kosher edus, gewaldig. Somebody else comes to help. 2 witnesses. Kosher witnesses. Get them out of Beis Din. Related, so not kosher witnesses. 2 kosher witnesses. That means they're kosher individually and they're kosher because they're not related to each other. You have 2. Get out of here. You have 1. Oh, good. Stay. Can that be? First of all, can it be? Yes. Now, the details if you don't mind. Hi.
Could it be something to do with reciting the movement?
With the what?
The Kodesh,
Nope.
reciting the movement?
Nope. Can you accept testimony from 1 witness? Kiddush HaChodesh?
After the din, you don't accept anymore.
After the?
After the psak, you don't accept anymore.
In order to make a psak, if you have a 1 witness, we'll accept it. If you have 2, we won't. 2 people come to Beis Din, kick him out. 1 person comes, we'll accept it. How can this be?
First one says that the other guy wasn't there.
2 kosher witnesses. That means
Comes.
willing, able, strong, good, kosher, not related, and they both are saying the same thing. Oh, you're saying the same thing. 2 kosher witnesses, so get out of here. But if one of them is there, oh, why not? No problem.
You're saying it's too close.
No, it's the same thing, but not the same wording. Exactly like you would want to. But you're kicking them out, saying, I can't accept it. How can that be? The answer is, a woman that comes and says, I divorced, but I'm divorced. Is she believed? Why is she believed? What migo does she have? She could have said I wasn't married. We believe her. We have a chazaka. Even if we know that she was married, we'll still accept it because we have a chazaka. En isha ma'ezet paneha b'fnei baila. A woman is not so brazen to be chutzpahdik, to say, I got divorced when her husband is sitting there, and to lie mamish in front of his face. But if another guy comes to help her and say, yeah, she got divorced, then we say, ma'ezes u'ma'ezes, yen, she is brazen in front of her husband because she has support, and therefore, even though the 2 kosher witnesses, as if we won't accept the testimony. Another riddle. Can it be? This is mind-boggling. Reuven, 2 witnesses come, kosher. They come and they testify. Reuven killed Shimon. Seemingly we should accept it, right? The only technical problem, that Shimon, the dead person, we see him walking. He comes into the Beis Din. And Reuven testify, they both testify that Reuven killed Shimon. And we will kill Reuven. The Dayanim see Shimon walking. But they will kill Reuven because 2 kosher witnesses came and said, Reuven killed Shimon. Can this be?
But clearly, when do that?
What does that mean?
He died.
If he died, that means Reuven didn't kill him. Reuven didn't kill him. They testify Reuven killed Shimon. So we say we have to kill Reuven. As they say we have to kill Reuven, Shimon walks in. Healthy, 100%. Let's kill Reuven. Can that be?
That's the story from Gemara on Uri who killed his other, and then he revived him.
Megillah Daf Zayin Amud Beis. Rava or Rabba, different Yisraelis, killed Reb Zera. The following day he revived him. So you want to kill Rava?
Someone testifies against him, what did he do? That sounds like the same situation.
That's what you're saying?
No, I'm saying Edim Zon. I'm saying they're going to get killed.
Shaul's Teshuvas Dvar Avraham, Chelek Aleph Siman Hey, says a fascinating thing. Basically what you're saying. He doesn't bring Rava as an example, but he says, I want to say, he's not 100% sure, but he says, Ani noite loima. I'm leaning towards saying that Behutaz Kol Harosh, Reuven chopped off the head of Shimon. Even if a miracle happened and he was revived, I don't know how, Reuven, Chayav Misa. You have to kill him. He says, imagine a person died, and Eliyahu Navi comes and revives him. You want to tell me we're not going to kill the killer? Why not? He killed. For that, he has to be executed. The fact that tomorrow Eliyahu Navi comes and gives him, it's mamish what you're saying. The fact that Rava comes and is able to be Mechayim Eisim, because the Chidah says even the youngest, the smallest of the Amoraim had the koyach to be Mechayim Eisim. You don't have to be a Tana. It's enough to be an Amoira. The person who executed is Chayv Misa. By the way, we must say this to protect Rava. The Maharsha already says that Sachte doesn't mean that he killed him. It means he leaned on him and he made him very, very weak. Not Mamash that he killed him. Shlomo Zalman Auerbach has even a better invention than that. And Shlomo Zalman Auerbach says he didn't kill him. Rava would kill somebody. He embarrassed him in front of other people in the Sudas Purim. And Chazal equate embarrassing a person as if he spilled blood. So what does it mean that we revived him the following day? He came and he apologized. Givaldik.
It's similar to what I told the story that a person goes to eat a non-kosher restaurant. They ran out of meat, they bought kosher meat. He thought it was non-kosher, and it turned out it was kosher. He said that he's punished if he ate.
He's not punished, but it's chayav kapara. It's the language of Rabbi Akiva in Nazir Chav Gimel Amud Aleph, and Rabbi Akiva cried when he got to that pasuk. So the Var Avram wants to say that in a case like this, not only is the guy chayav misa, we'll also do the whole egla arufa that we're learning about this week's parsha, decapitating the calf. We will do it for this case, even though the guy now is walking. So the fact that he had a nes, so because of that we're going to eliminate one of the mitzvahs of the Torah.
But on the case of the Gemara, if that was the case, it was only embarrassing. Why he didn't want to come next week? He said, I'm not coming. I mean, if he apologized, and it was only embarrassing.
He apologized, but why was he want to cause him to be nichshal lifnei iver? Maybe you're going to do this to me next year as well. Tamim tiyah im Hashem Elokecha, we mentioned before the pasuk, be wholeheartedly with the Kodesh Baruch Hu. And Shlomo Zalman Auerbach says, there's another tamim that we're very careful with. Tamimos. 7 weeks, Sfiras Oimer. We're so makpid on that we don't bring Shavuos early, right? We're very makpid to make sure after Tzeis, we always count. After Tzeis, we got to make sure, Tamimos, Mishleimus. Ask if Shlomo Zalman, if that's the case, why are we not so makpid on Tamim Tiyah, Hashem Elokecha, it should be Bishleimus. The be wholeheartedly, which is the mitzvah of Emunah, should also be at least with the same Shleimus that we're makpid on Sfiras Oimer, especially nowadays that according to most opinions, it's only the Rabbanon. If you're makpid on the Tmimos over there, you should also probably be makpid on the Tmimos regarding Emunah. The pasuk equates a person to the tree. Ki ha'adam eitz hasadeh. Who's the etz? The Zohar HaKodesh calls the etz the Talmid Chochem. Talmid Chochem is an etz. What's the comparison? A tree to a person. The pasuk in Tehillim, Perek Aleph, first chapter, third pasuk. Ve'aya ke'etz she'asul al pal gelmayim, also referring to the tzaddik. Asher piryo yiten beito, bring out its fruits. Ve'alehu lo yibol. V'chol asher ya'aseh yatzliach. What's the connection, Talmid Chochem, and a tree? Perhaps. First of all, an etz stands upright, tall. You can see very far away. And the Talmidei Chachamim are called Einei Ha'eda. They have X-ray vision, and they can see into the future. They see further than other people. Therefore, they can tell you what to do, what not to do, things that don't make any sense to you because they see into the future, see things that you cannot see. More than that, the Talmid Chochem makes himself as if it's a tree. In other words, it's planted in its place. He doesn't move. As the Navi Zechariah says about the Malachim, the angels, Ha'oimdim Ha'ele. What does that mean? A person always wants to continue to grow, to go and explore new areas, to learn new things. It's very exciting, instead of just doing chazara and chazara, chazara. A Talmid Chochem, when he teaches others who are not as smart as him, has to slow down in his own progress. So with that, instead of being like a mehalech, moving forward, growing, he has to be like a tree. Oimed, he is standing. Why? In order to accommodate others. That's what the Gemara says in Moed Katan Chagiga. If you see, the Rav is like a Malach Eloikim Tzevakois, learn Torah from him. But if not, stay away. And the famous question is, how am I supposed to know what a Malach looks like? If your Rav looks like an angel, go and learn Torah from him. When was the last time you saw an angel? So I can compare. I don't know what it means. Says the Chassam Sofer, if the Malach is willing to be like an angel, in other words, stagnant, instead of thinking about his own progress, he's thinking about his Talmidim, and therefore he's willing to go again, and again, and again, and again, standing in his own place, in order to accommodate his Talmidim, you should learn Torah from him. But if not, and he's thinking only about himself, and therefore he wants to explore new areas where the Talmidim is still not there, stay away from him. And another idea about standing in one place is that Talmidei Chachamim don't sway. One day they think like this, tomorrow they sacrifice their values for something else. He is planted, he is rooted in the same place, and he is stagnant in that he doesn't change. The stronger and the bigger the tree, the deeper are his roots. And with that, it's a remez that the Talmid Chochem is leaning on the Messiah that is giving us from generation to generation, previous generations which are previous roots. And just like the etz, the tree spreads by his branches, so too the Talmid Chochem spreads out by his writings, by his Talmidim. He gives sweet fruits. Those are his Chidushei Torah. And many come to lean and to enjoy the great shade that he provides. And therefore the pasuk in Tehillim that we quoted says, Shasul al pal gemaim, he is sustained only from water. Because in Tanis of Zayin Amud Aleph the Gemara says, En ma'im el ha-Torah. And that's his only sustenance. Just like the tree is only sustained from water, he is sustained only from Torah. Maybe with that also, it's a remez to the humility of the Talmid Chochem, because he lets everybody climb on him.
The Talmud Chochem is like sticks to his views, because we find often in the Gemara gets straight into the Hadalah.
Yeah, one is allowed to say, as many times we find in the Gemara, Dvarim she'amarti lachem esmol, taus hem beyadi. What I told you yesterday, I reviewed it, it's a mistake. But to change your values? You're allowed to make a mistake, you're human. But to change your values, today I'm here, tomorrow I'm there. I don't know if you know. Mistama, you don't know. But there are some politicians, I don't know if you're allowed to mention it here. One day they were with this party, tomorrow they switch to another party, which is exactly the opposite of yesterday. But in 2 days from now, they go back. How is it possible? Because they'll sell themselves in order to be able to sit somewhere which is not very pleasant anyways. But Talmid Chochem sticks to his values. They don't change. There are punishments like lashes, the 4 capital punishments, jail, penalties, monetary, excommunication, and more. Rabbi Isai, when is it that the Beis Din has to pull out the hair of the person? You ever hear such a thing? You're chayav pulling hairs. So you reveal the hair. You uproot, you take off her sheitel. When do you have to pull her hair? Or his hair? Ever heard such a thing? Saras? Wait for her to, or him to be healed. What's that? I can't hear you. What's that? An oven? Beis Din says to the person, your punishment is we're going to pull out your hair. Whoever heard such a thing? You know whoever heard such a thing? The Rambam. Listen to a Rambam. Hilchos Sanhedrin, Perek Chav Daled. I'm reading to you Halacha Ches and Halacha Tes in the Rambam. V'chen yesh ladayan la'asos meriva. The dayan should fight im hara'ui lariv imoy, with a person who is right to fight with. This person is a chutzpah, he's a villain, he doesn't listen to us. Ulekal eloi, to curse him, the dayan has to curse him. Ulehakoisoi, and to hit him. Velitlosh se'aroi, and to pull out his hair. Uleashbio be'eloikim ba'al kolcho, and to force him to take a shvua that he should never do this type of thing, or that he never did. Shene'emar, where did the Rambam take this from? A pasuk in Nehemiah. Va'ariv imam va'akalelem. Va'akem mehem anashim, and I hit some people of them. Va'emratem, and I pulled out their hair, says the Metzudas David. Continues the Rambam and says, V'chen yesh lo lichpos yadayim v'raglayim. Tie up their hands, tie up their feet. V'le'esor bebeis asur, and put them in jail. V'litchof v'lischov al haaretz, and drag them on the ground. Shene'emar, a pasuk from Ezra, hen lamus, hen lesharushei, hen la'anosh, nechasin, ula'asurin. Pile, pile, ploi. If that's not enough of a chiddush to you and not enough of a challenging riddle, so I'll give you another one. When do the Beis Din have to hit a person close to death? He's not chayav for the capital punishments. The Rambam just said before, pull out his hair or hit him. But now I'm taking it a step further. Hit him till he almost dies.
Say the 39. It's not that the doctor is there and just like says when.
If the doctor says he can withstand 39, give him 39. If the doctor says he's going to die with 39, don't give him 39. And you ask the doctor, how many can he get? And the doctor says 4. So what do you give him? How many give him? 3.
That's right, so it's just before 8.
So we don't want to kill him. Here I'm saying we're going to hit him close to death. We're eliminating death when we're listening to the doctor. We don't want to kill the guy. We just want to embarrass him. That's it. Which mitzvah say?
He doesn't want to have it to say.
So you want to kill him till he's close to dying? Louder.
Forced a man to give his wife.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. A guy, no, you're completing each other. Strong coalition. A person who doesn't want to give a divorce to his wife, we're going to force him. Makinoiso, agitates nafsho. I'm saying close to death. We force him to say, Roitzani. We're going to show him how he really wants to. Because the Rambam explains, a person really wants to do the right thing. It's how it comes in clouds. The person doesn't understand that he really wants to do it to divorce her. Says the Rambam again, Rotzeach and Shmiras HaNefesh, Perek Beis, Halacha Beis, Gimel Daled Hey, and he explains to us. A person who hires a hitman. Reuven took Shimon and says, Shimon, I'm going to pay you money, go and kill Levi. What do you do to Reuven? Do you kill him? And Shaliach Ledvar Avera, Shimon is the one who kills. Reuven is exempt. Or he sends his slaves to kill a person. Or that he ties up a person right in front of the lion. And he left him there so for the lion to have lunch. And so too, a person who kills himself is called Shoifech Damim. So Rambam says about these people, they're called people who spill blood. And they do have the sin of killing, but lemaise, we can't execute him. There's no capital punishment. Rambam proves it, and then he says, and all these type of people, and other people like them, who are chayav misas based in, but we can't. If a Melech Yisrael wants to kill him, Bedina Malchus, just to uphold society, he's allowed to. Hareshus b'yado. Even though technically speaking, he can't kill him. And so too, if Beis Din wants to kill him, behoras shah, just to make sure that people are behaving in a normal way, if Hasha tzricha lechach, they have permission, whatever they want to do. But if the king didn't kill them, and the Beis Din didn't see that this is the time that is needed, another, it's a one-time event, as they don't think it's going to happen again. Harei Beis Din yet chayavin lehakoisam makaraba hakroiva lemisa. The Beis Din is chayav to hit him close to death. Unbelievable. Continues the Rambam, and to put him in jail for many years, and to cause them all kinds of sorrow, in order to frighten other wicked people. Chalila, not to say, listen, this is great. I can cause somebody else to die, my competition in business, or my opponent, or the guy who takes my spot in the parking, and I'll be exempt just like the other guy. We want to make sure that doesn't happen, and therefore the Beis Din has to execute what the Rambam says, which is a big condition.
Do we hold that way?
Do we hold like the Rambam? Rambam! Can you go against the Rambam? We just started with Elul. Tshuva. Tshuva is great for everything, right? Tshuva. Is there something that tshuva doesn't work for? Can it be something that the Kodesh Baruch Hu says, no?
I mean, there's some that the atonement is only after Midah.
Good. There's some things that's so severe that tshuva works partially. Until Yisurim come along, Yom Kippur, death comes and completes the atonement process, but there's something that tshuva doesn't work for. It just doesn't work. Ben Adam lachavero, tshuva doesn't work until you go and you say, I'm sorry, and then tshuva works. Ben Adam lachavero is 2 for the price of 1. First of all, Ben Adam lachavero, but it's a Kodesh Baruch Hu who told you don't behave like that to your friend. So you have to have tshuva with apologizing to your friend. But there's something that tshuva just doesn't work. May says, who told you tshuva doesn't work? We have to execute him. Who told you it doesn't work? Machti esarabim. What about tshuva? Why can't it work? He's going to say, I made a mistake. You have a raya that doesn't work? En maspiki means he's not going to get assistance. But if he comes and breaks down the gates of tshuva, The gates are open, he'll walk in. This is something that erect cannot be fixed. The kid is a mamzer. But why can't he do tshuva for what he did? Did a mitzvah? You want to do tshuva for a mitzvah? Tshuva and a mitzvah, what does that mean? You want to do tshuva and a mitzvah? Why does mitzvah need a tshuva? Sure, Kiddushin Daf Mem, Toyeh ala Rishonis, you can uproot good deeds. But I'm talking about tshuva. He wants to do the right thing. Tshuva normally is done for an aveira. And we're saying it's not going to work. Perhaps. You regret what you did, all the good deeds, and now you come and do tshuva for that. Some opinions say you're going to get it all back. And it makes sense. But I'm saying there's something that you did that you cannot, tshuva doesn't work. The most sincere tshuva ever. A chiddush from Rabbeinu Amalbim. There's a pasuk in Mishlei. Perek Yud Zayin, pasuk Yud Gimel. Meishiv ra'a tachas toiva. A person who repays evil for good. The pasuk says lo tamush ra'a mi beiso. What is lo tamush? Evil will not depart from his house. Why not? Let it depart if he does tshuva. Why will it never depart from his house? Says the Malbim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu pays midah keneged midah. Measure for measure. And a person, even though he did bad, can always do tshuva. But a person who repays evil for good, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will pay him according to what he did. That even if he's going to do tshuva and will do good, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will pay him bad for good. And Ra lo tamush mi beiso, and the evil is not going to depart from his house, even when he changes his ways. It's mamish frightening. And therefore we have to make sure never to become what the pasuk describes here, because it's mamish frightening. Ashkenazim started saying this week, Tehillim Chav Zayin. LeDavid Hashem Oiri Veishi. Sfardim, some say it every single day. So we're all familiar with the pasuk. Achas sha'alti me'es Hashem. Oisa avakesh. Oh, wait a second. It's redundant. Achas sha'alti oisa avakesh. You just said that. There's one thing I ask. That is what I request. That's the same thing. It just says, Achas sha'alti oisa avakesh. No, Achas sha'alti Achas sha'alti me'im Hashem. Why do you have to say Achas sha'alti oisa avakesh me'es Hashem? It's redundant. Shivti beveis Hashem kol yemei chayei. I don't want to be permanent there. Ulevakir, I just want to be a visitor. Ulevakir beicha. Visitor? Some ask Kodesh Baruch Hu, we want rain. They go to shul. V'sental umata livracha. And it worked. They come out, it starts pouring. Again it's raining. You just asked for it. Yeah, but I'm getting all wet. 2 seconds before that, Tika b'shofar godu lecheruseinu. Bring Mashiach already. 1957 years we're waiting. The Medrash says the Mashiach will blow a 1,000 amma long shofar. We want to see it. But right after the finish Munaseh, Kodesh Baruch Hu, don't rush. I have a vacation planned for 2 months from now. I have a new client next week. Don't rush. We've been waiting for 1915. We can wait a little more. You ask one thing, but you really ask something else. Says David HaMelech, I'm consistent. Achas sha'alti, what I asked before, Oisa avakesh, I'm still consistent. What does that mean? A 4-year-old wants the newest candy. It's so good, a new snack. But as he ages, that request changes. Then later, he wants the Rambam. When he's 13 years old, then he wants a bike, then he wants a car, then he wants a house, then he wants the candy changes. It's the same candy, it's a different wrapper. It changes and it evolves as he evolves. Says David HaMelech, what I asked when I was a kid, I still ask now. I want the same candy. You know what that is? I want to visit your house, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I want to go visit your house, but I don't want to be a permanent resident there. Ulevakir. What is a vakir? Libiku. A visitor. When you go as a tourist to a new place, you try to soak it all in and to be impressed and to remember all the details. I want to be impressed like the first time I came into your house, the 100th time, I want to feel like this is my first time. I want to be excited every single time. Like that tourist who's excited to visit the place that he always dreamed about. I'm very, very consistent, says David HaMelech. Achas sha'alti, what I asked back then in the past, it's the same thing on my mind. Oisa avakesh. That is the request that we have of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Allow us to be visitors. Allow us to have the same feeling of excitement every single time we Mitzvah Hashem going to go into your house, and allow us to be consistent with the bakasha. We don't want to change and evolve. We want the same thing. We want to see Mashiach Tzidkeinu, Bekarov Yaminu, with all the hostages back, with all our enemies surrender. Mitzvah Hashem, with Eliyahu Hanavi, who will come to announce the great redemption. Mitzvah Hashem, Bekarov Yaminu, V'noima. Amen. Achenu kol beis Yisrael nisuin b'sor v'shiv ya'oim ben bayam uben bayabasha. המקום ירחם עליהם ויוציאם מצר ולברך המפעיל ולרום משוב לגאולה אשתה בעגלו ובזמן קורי ואינו ימר אמן.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.